guys, so back again. 2 videos within the space of a year? What? Okay, so today's video is something a little bit different. So for those of you who know me, I am a writer. I've got a degree in creative and professional writing from Canterbury Christchurch, so you know, apparently I know what I'm talking about. And as a writer, I have a very, very weird search history. I'm probably on some kind of watch list. So MI5, if you're listening, hi. But yeah, I have a weird search history and I'm very fascinated by things like true crime and by, psychology in general. I'm wasted as a writer. I'd make a far better psychologist, I think, but paid 27 grand for a degree now, innit? So anyway, I'll get on to my topic in a minute, but I'm very fascinated by even things like mind control and by cults and that kind of, how does a person or a group manage to get someone to the stage where they would willingly give their lives, like in the case of the Heaven's Gate cult and everything to do with Jim Jones and the Mansons. How can you genuinely get someone to become so invested in an idea that they would kill or commit suicide for it? So I've done some research and I'm gonna talk you through the 8 steps of indoctrination, because lockdown in it, I ain't really got much better to do with my time and I think it's quite interesting. So should we get into it? I think so. So step 1 is, if you're planning to create your own little cult, is that essentially you've got to find a willing subject, as it were, a recruit. Now, please do excuse me, got a cat here. So you've got to find someone who is willing to maybe be open to suggestion. You essentially need someone who is open-minded, or someone who is in such a position that they are open to suggestion. So people would tend to think that a cult or a like group would tend to target young people, which they probably do. I mean, if you've got teenagers who are having problems with their parents, having any kind of social trouble, they're more likely to be receptive to your suggestion. But the reality is cults tend to go for people with either high skills or money. I mean, consider it. It makes sense. So if you're talking like doctors, lawyers, soldiers, engineers even, they're people who are high skilled, who've got money so they can contribute financially to the running of organisation. Nondescript. Insert name here. So first of all, you're going to want to find who you're going to recruit. Step 2, how do you actually get in contact with said person? Now, back in the ye olde days, you would have had to rely on things like support groups or any kind of gathering where you can get one-on-one contact with this person and you can kind of begin to understand their situation. So to lead on from point 1, you also kind of want someone who, high skilled, but you want someone who's in a very stressful time in their life. So say someone who's going through bereavement or divorce or unemployment or depression, because at the end of the day, these are the people who are going to be most receptive. If you offer them this golden opportunity, they're more likely to take it. That just be psychology. that be the way it is sometimes. So you'd want like a support group. You'd want a way to get in contact one-on-one with them. More and more within a modern context, you're moving towards the internet and online forums and that kind of thing, even social media to an extent, where you're able to get contact with that person, start up a dialogue, build a rapport. And that'd be step 2. Now step 3 is really where they're going to be starting to kick it up a notch. Now, as one of the followers of the Children of God cult claimed, this is where they drop the love bomb. Now, you're dealing with someone who is at a very vulnerable stage in their life. You're dealing with someone who is very open to suggestion of any kind. There be my cat. So at this stage, you give them everything that they're craving, or the recruiter gives them everything that they're craving, whether that be attention, whether that be compliments, gifts, some cases money. You essentially give them everything that they could want. You make them feel attached to you. It's that positive reinforcement thing that, you know, sometimes works with pretty much any human being, because we all subliminally like to feel wanted. So at this stage, you're starting to give them loads of gifts, and they're going to associate being with you with feeling good, which is essentially what you want. You want them to associate you with positive feelings. So it's often why, you know, kids respond well to gifts and that kind of thing. It's why anyone responds well to gifts. You get the person, your recruit, to associate those feelings, those positive endorphins with you. Therefore, they're going to want to be around you, and they're going to be more determined to please you, to keep in with you, essentially. So, step 3, love bomb. Now, step 4. If steps 3 is where we kick it up a notch and you're starting the wheels of manipulation, step 4 is where you start your sales pitch. So it's at stage 4 that you start to sell the idea of the cult, the group, the organisation. You give your recruit the idea that everything is perfect, that this is, say if you're living on a commune, that it's a perfect life and everyone's happy, nobody has any stress, nobody has anything to worry about, because your leader, they're going to take care of you. They're going to see you right. Don't you worry about anything, my love. Step 4, you sell the shit out of the idea. Simple as that. Step 5. Now, this is steady escalation. Steady escalation. Keep in mind, this process can take any period of time, really. But step 5 is the tough love phase. It's where, up to this point, the person trying to recruit has been laying on thick with this recruit. They have been giving them everything that they could want. They've been giving them attention. They've been giving them, whether it's financial, familial, or even sexual kind of gratification. They have been giving it, you know, they have been getting this recruit primed to respond to this step. In the tough love phase, this is the point where the recruiter, whether it be the leader or just a member of said cult, will really start to manipulate. They will deny the recruit everything that they have been giving them. They will shut them out. They will completely ignore them. They will leave this recruit feeling dejected or abandoned, so that this recruit by this point has begun to associate the recruiter with positive feelings. They want to be around this person, and if they're being denied this contact, it sets off that kind of thing in your brain, like, oh my god, what have I done wrong? How can I make this right? So you're more determined to please the other person, and that is when the recruiter will start to give positive reinforcements again for good behaviour. You know, the old carrot and stick line of argument, which, to be fair, is probably quite effective because, you know, I mean, it kind of totally works in 50 Shades of Grey, which is kind of following the 8 steps of indoctrination into a cult. E.L. James. I'm not just bitter because if you type my name in, you come up first. I ain't bitter about that, but you know, indoctrination in it. Christian Grey is a cult leader. I'm pretty sure there's a film theory about that. Now, step 6 is probably the most vital step in indoctrinating a person to a cult. This will be the point where they will realise whether this has worked or not. So step 6 is they encourage the recruit to renounce their friends and family. They encourage the recruit to kind of immerse themselves completely in the cult. So no contact with any friends or family. They put this person in a situation where they are entirely reliant on the connections that they form within this cult. They isolate them completely, which is kind of why, even in the case of like abusive relationships, women and men will stay because they have been completely isolated by this person. They think that the situation they're in is their only safety net. So if they leave, they will be completely without anyone. So you kind of just stay where it is. So step 6 is the pivotal moment, shall we say, whether all of these weeks and months of hard work have actually borne fruit. Now we're on to step 7. Up until this point, it's just been laying the groundwork. The recruit has abandoned their family. They have renounced any other connection that exist outside of this bubble within the cult. Now it might be an idea to actually go into what this cult stands for. So step 7 is introducing core beliefs. So in the realms of like the Heaven's Gate cult, the commune, Jim Jones's commune, and even Manson, Charles Manson introduced his followers to the concepts of his cult via LSD, which, I mean, if you're high as a kite, you're more likely to be open to the power of suggestion, which, say what you will about the man, but his methods were effective. I realise how bad that sounds out of context, but you know, he's recruiting methods. Let's go that. Oh god. So yeah, introducing the core beliefs of the cult. Now step 8, final step. By this point, the recruit has well and truly become one with the organisation, the cult, the group. And step 8 is rejecting any kind of criticism towards the core beliefs of the group, but especially towards the leader. It's step 8 where they are completely dedicated to the leader. And by this point, you've been indoctrinated and you have been brainwashed into joining a cult. And I mean, these 8 steps can, I mean, 50 Shades of Grey, as I said, is pretty much textbook you know, gives Anastasia what she wants, cold shoulder until he gets what he wants, carrot and stick. I'm just saying, 50 Shades of Grey, Christian Grey's a cult leader. But even within toxic relationships, these kind of things are prevalent, which is why you've got to be careful about them. And I realise how this has turned kind of into a PSA, hasn't it? Oh my, do you mind? Yeah, so it's being aware of these steps, and I do find it fascinating that people can be manipulated to that extent, but you can also see it from both sides. Knowing people who may be susceptible to that kind of behaviour is an interesting one. But that's been the product of my week. Some say I have too much time on my hands. I can't really disagree. Anyway, let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and as always, stay safe, have a good week, and see ya.